Welcome. Hi, this is Bob Noonan coming to you from His Place Church, Westminster, California. And on behalf of Pastor Joe, Therese, all the staff here, the elder board, we just want to tell you we've been praying for you, we love you, and even though we can't get together physically, we're together in spirit because we are all members of the same body. Before I get into my talk today, a talk I hope that will encourage you, I want to play a praise hymn for you. It was written by a man many, many years ago in the depths of his despair. But in the depths of his despair, he remembers God is with him. Please listen. I'll be right back.
We sing, it is well. With
Welcome back. I just love that song. Sometimes I cry when I hear that song, understanding the backstory to how the lyrics of that song was penned. His name was Horatio Spafford. He was born in 1828. Great Christian family, a wonderful Christian man who did multiply great things in his community to people who had less. He became an attorney. He became head of a law firm, one of the great law firms in Chicago. He married Anna, his wife. They had 5 children, four girls and a boy. But in 1870, that little boy died of scarlet fever. Only the beginning of the pain that they would suffer in their lives. You see, a year later, Spafford invested great wealth that he accumulated as an attorney and bought numerous buildings and properties and rental units in Chicago. 1 year later, the Great Chicago Fire happened, and it wiped out most of his wealth. So not only lost his boy, he lost a Job experience, most of what he owned. And he kept believing in God. It took him about 2 years, and being an attorney, he made a lot of that money back and a lot of his investments, built a lot of the buildings back up. He felt it was time for his wife and 4 daughters and he to take a vacation. You see, his good friend D.L. Moody was preaching an evangelical message all through England, and he wanted to go support Moody and take a vacation also. A day before they were supposed to depart, he got summons, and there was a huge business deal that was happening. He couldn't leave, and he told his wife, look, take the girls, go on the steamship. I will follow you in a day or 2. And so they did that. Anna got the 4 girls. The girls were 11, 9, 5, and 2. And crossing over, Anna wrote one night, she was extremely tired. The girls were singing. She was trying to get them in bed. If you have children, especially 4, you know that they can be restless. And she finally got them all down, and she felt it was time for her. She could relax. You know that feeling. Well, as she began to relax, fall asleep, there was a huge crash. What had happened, the steamship they were on collided with an iron vessel that was coming from England in the middle of the ocean. It wasn't a small crash. It nearly cut their vessel in 2. Anna ran to the deck with her 4 children. She saw the lifeboats. She saw the people getting into the lifeboats. And being a Christian, she said, it's not fair for me to take spots away from people that need them. She was willing to sacrifice her life. Her little daughter, Maggie, was crying and screaming and screaming and screaming. And she said, all of a sudden I looked at Maggie, and Maggie became calm. And she said, Mom, don't worry. God is going to take care of us. Well, what happened, within 12 minutes, that ship sank. She tried to hold on to the littlest one, the 2-year-old, but the sea ripped her out of her hands. And as she tried to go underwater, she grabbed the night garment of the little girl, but it was torn away again, never to see those 4 children. When she got to England, she wrote her husband a telegram. It says, I alone am saved. She said later, I wanted to die. I wanted to be with my little ones. I did not want to live, but in the middle of the conflict and the crisis and her daughters being torn away, she said, I heard a voice, and God said to me, you've been spared because you still have work to do. Wow. I don't think in our crisis of life, we think about the future. We think about our despair in the middle of that. And when Horatio followed her back over there on a steamship, he was summoned up to the bridge one night, and the captain said, Mr. Spafford, I want you to know we're now passing over where your 4 daughters died. Spafford left, and that night he penned the words to "It is well with my soul." When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrow like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. He says, even if the Jordan above me shall roll, no pang shall be mine. For in death as in life, thou, Lord, will whisper thy peace to my soul. The word soul is the same word as life. Our soul is our life. Our spirit is something different that lives forever. Jesus came that we might have life and forever lasting with him. And so when God breathed life into Adam, that was his soul. And what he was saying here is, well with my life. Can you imagine saying in the midst of the greatest tragedies of your life, it is well? He has now lost 5 children, and most of the money he made, although he made some back, comes back to England with Anna, and they start over. They have 3 more children. But about 6-7 years later, he decides to give up everything. And he moves Anna, his children, and some believers with him to Jerusalem, because he had this thing he wanted to bring peace to Jerusalem. He goes there and he sets up an encampment. And they work hard. And they brought the Muslims and the Christians together, and they were at peace. And they were helping the Armenians who were coming into that land as refugees because part of their Holocaust had begun. And he brought peace to that. As a matter of fact, years later, that ministry kind of concluded itself. But the hotel that's still there, the Spafford Hotel, was where the 1983 peace accord for the Arabs and Jews was signed. And his song was all about peace. He brought peace there. Do you think it was over? No, he had 2 daughters and a son, and that son, Horatio Jr., died in Jerusalem at the same age his first son died at 4 years old. The scripture tells us in John that Jesus says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you." God is giving us his peace, not as the world knows it. Paul parrots that a little bit in Colossians 3:15, where he says, "Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. For we are all members of the same body. We're called to peace, and we're called to be thankful no matter our circumstances." That word rule, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, that word really in the Greek means arbitrator or arbiter. It's saying let God be your counselor. Don't lean on your own understanding when you can't see by faith and you're in pain. Let the arbitrator, let the mighty counselor rule your heart. Wow. Aren't those great, great words that Paul gave to us? No, Horatio and Anna grieved for their children, but God gave them purpose in life. As Jesus said to Peter after he restored him, "Peter, in the end of your life, they're going to bind you and they're going to take you where you don't want to go," referring to his manner of death. Peter would be martyred. When Peter heard that, even after he was restored, he looked over at John. He said, "Well, what about John?" Jesus said, "Well, what is it to you? If I want John to stay till I return, you follow me." Each of us has to follow what Jesus wants us to do in life. And peace only comes to our soul when we're following him. We let him be the ruler of our hearts and the comforter of our soul. I hope that message is encouraging you today. We are praying for you at His Place Church, Westminster, California. This is Bob Noonan saying goodbye to you for now. God bless.